Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Vaccine. There are multiple candidates that are in various stages of clinical trial. One or two of them will go into phase 3 for efficacy literally at the end of this month. So we're pretty cautiously optimistic that at the end of the year, beginning of this coming 2021, we will have one and maybe more, I hope more than one vaccine that would be available.
Yeah. Now, how fast we get it, that's another story. But the reality is at this point in time, we don't have a vaccine. And we live in the here and now, and that's what we got to focus on the here and now and look to the future that we get this thing sorted out. Wearing a mask, little social distancing, making sure cleanliness is godliness, right? Should be okay. Get our lives back to semi-normal. And then we'll get to the point where we have a vaccine, and hopefully that will do what it kind of does for the flu-wise. Now, Moderna yesterday, they announced they've been tested 45 people. And out of those 45 people they've tested, nobody's gotten the coronavirus, and nobody has any real ill effects. So you got 2 shots 28 days apart. Mild headaches, fever here and there. But outside of that, nothing too really bad. So that's a good start. Now they ramp it up, and they're going to move into the next phase. You've got the UK moving into another phase of theirs. But we've got to get this thing under control. We do. We get that. We understand. It shouldn't be that hard. It's a hoax. It's not a hoax. Let's get our heads out of our butt and stop saying it's a hoax. But it doesn't mean it's all that everybody says it is. That's the reality of that. What we're seeing now is a lot of sick people in numbers that test positive. How many of them are really sick, and what's the danger?
So even if young people, which some do, get sick enough to get hospitalized, it is highly unlikely that the death rate among them are going to be at the level of the death rate of what we saw.
No, it's just not going to happen. Young people aren't getting sick and dying. That's at the end of the day. Yesterday, we were listening I listened to several different people. I've read a bunch of stuff, and, it's this battle of everybody's trying to prove each other right or wrong. No, I just want the truth. If the truth is this thing is all that it's supposed to be. Fauci went on to say this could become the flu, like the Spanish flu. And I'm like, it's not going to become the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu then just kind of bumble around for a little bit. Then it decided to amp it up and take everybody out. But it's that fear factor. Remember, too, a lot of this in the clip culture is the fear factor. What can we do to elicit a response from you, the public? Case in point this. I think his name's Dr. Joseph Fair. NBC's a virologist, he's an epidemiologist, and he was on with Chuck Todd, and they documented on NBC, his, because he caught it. He caught it. He caught it. Oh, he caught it. He did. He caught the vid. Chuck Todd talking to him about it.
Dr. Fair, let me start with you because I would like you to share a little bit about your recovery from COVID-19. What should Americans take away from your experience?
So what should they take away from your experience, Dr. Fair? 42. What should they take away from your experience?
Well, first of all, I did not have any underlying conditions, and, I'm not like a triathlete or anything like that, but I was generally very healthy, could run, exercise probably 4 or 5 times a week. That being said, I did not expect if I got COVID-19 that I would get that ill, because I don't have any of those underlying conditions. I'm 42 years old. So you wouldn't think clinically that I would be one of those people that would get so very ill. I can say that 7 to 8 days prior to me hospitalizing myself when I was doing the self-treatment, that was the worst I've ever felt. I probably spent 23 out of 24 hours in bed. And then obviously I developed the secondary pneumonia at the end, and so the struggle in breathing and everything else. So
he never had it. Tested negative over and over again. Never, ever had it. Never had the antibodies. They tested him 5 times. He didn't have it. Never had it. He still says, I had it. So wait a minute. You say you had it. The tests say no. You've got tests in Florida that some of the clinics and the laboratories are, every test comes back positive. Because that's where we send it. Doesn't matter where you are. By and large, you're sending all of your stuff to Florida to these labs. Misinformation is different than disinformation. Disinformation is I'm trying to give you information that's different because I want to get you to do something, to bite on something. Misinformation is people who are selling you stuff that they think is real, but they're misinformed. This right here, he didn't have it. That's the frustration. Why is anybody talking about this? It's the problem with the media. It's 24/7 doom and gloom. People are doom scrolling. World's coming to an end. It's all going to fall apart. We're never going to make, oh my God. Oh, kids shouldn't go to school. What if kids go to school? Well, everybody's going to get it and die. You know, they've been asking Trump about this teacher here in Arizona who died. Sad situation. Passed away because of the coronavirus and complications of the coronavirus. This is why teachers shouldn't return to class. I said, oh, okay. She was in a room with 3 other women, all social distancing. She wore a mask. There were no children. She taught online, and unless it figured out a way to go into the Wi-Fi and travel through electricity, she didn't catch it from the kids. What they don't tell you is obesity, diabetes, lupus, asthma. 3 underlying conditions. Older. But that's the basis which they use it. It's the misinformation, the disinformation, the chaos, the craziness. This is the frustration that people have. It's not a hoax. It's real. And it's a disruptor. And we need to pay attention. And there are people that we need to protect. And some people who are extremely healthy, for whatever reason, will catch this and they'll get very sick. And some people who you think, man, if they catch a cold, they may die, may get this and nothing. But it's very rare. But the disinformation, the lies, the putting mustard on it, the dramatizing it. Do you remember, was it Cuomo? Oh, it's the worst. And I was talking. I'm sorry. That's the problem I have with this. And yesterday when I asked about kids in school and everybody's, where's the data? And then you give them the data and it's not the data they want, because what do they want? They want whatever this thing is to be zero. They want whatever this thing is to punish their opposite viewpoint. Kids shouldn't go back to school till we have a vaccine. Well, what if we never get a vaccine? Let me ask you that. Because Fauci said, I'm confident, but he didn't know. Nobody knows. So one thing we do know about this, I'm confident that none of us know. So we can only go by the limited data we have. Limited data says kids aren't really a risk. Numbers are very, very low. Chances of them getting sick and dying from this are, at least according to Oxford and Cambridge, super slim. And they don't seem to be spreaders. And places like Germany, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, where they've sent kids back, and that's the only data we have, France, because their kids have already gone back to school or resumed schooling, shows that they're very unlikely to spread it to adults. Nobody wants to listen to that. It's nuts. It's crazy. And if you dare say anything outside of what, it's almost like the wokeness. We have like a woke virus now. It's nuts. It really is. I continue to say this. We're all in this together, but we're not together in this. Between the woke virus culture, if you will, between the battle of crazies who won't mask up in a situation where, you know what, they've asked you to do it, you can do it, stop with your lunacy, and the Biden and Trump political party battle that's going on. It's no wonder we don't get anything done. It's nuts. But think about that for a second. NBC as a guy that's their doctor, virologist, epidemiologist, who didn't have it, according to the test, which must all be wrong. All 5 of them? Nothing. You hear nothing. Because there are plenty of things out there that go against a lot of the narratives. And that drives me crazy. My narrative is I want this thing to go away. I want the data, and I want to look at all of the data. Not the data that you only want me to look at, not the data that this side only wants me to look at. I want to look at everything and put it all together. One thing I know is we don't know because we're early in this game. One thing I do know is we'll know more tomorrow and even more the day after that. But if we're going to look back at the data we have, there's just some data that you look and go, well, look at this over here. This says kids can go to school. This says this, but people don't want to hear that because they built it up, and this is what it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Rough Greens, my dog Doodle last night. I was like, who's this dog jumping on me? It's Doodle. I'm like, Doodle, what are you doing, bro? He's like, look, let me tell you something. I need some more Rough Greens. I said, I got you, Rough Greens. Why does he love Rough Greens so much? Because a few months ago, I didn't know what I was going to do with Doodle. Thought about putting him down. I hated the fact that he was in pain. He couldn't run. He couldn't really jump. He's not that old for a small dog, but he had fatty tumors throughout his hips, and it was just causing him hell. That's when I tried Rough Greens. Super amazing. It's not pet food. It's not dog food. It's actually something you sprinkle on your dog's food. No matter how good your dog's food is, no matter what you spend on it, not really meant to sit on, it's meant to sit on shelves. It's not really this like amazing fresh unless you're going out and doing a fresh kill. And so you bring their food to life, essentially. 25 all-natural vitamins, 20 digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omegas 3, 6, and 9. It's incredible. And within about 10 days, Doodle was a different dog. He's months into it, and he's happier. He just looks better. It is amazing. Try it for yourself. Get it for your pooch. Maybe your dog's getting a little bit older. You want to get healthy. Maybe you want to keep them healthy. Maybe they got some aches and pains. See what Rough Greens can do. 14-day jumpstart, $14.95. Best thing you'll ever do for your furry friend. It can reduce or completely eliminate your dog's symptoms. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88, 833-MyDog88, or ruffgreens.com/Chad. You will not be disappointed. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Another health scare for the Supreme Court's oldest justice. The court saying that Ruth Bader Ginsburg is being treated at the hospital for a possible infection. The 87-year-old undergoing a medical procedure at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. Ginsburg has been treated 4 times for cancer and was hospitalized for another infection 2 months ago. Ginsburg, who was nominated by President Bill Clinton, is the second longest serving current justice, behind Associate Justice Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, so the left was, I tweeted it out last night when we first got the news, and people were like, I will give her any part of my body. Please don't die. At least she's going to die. I mean, she's 87. Let's be real. And she's had 4 bouts of cancer, and I think she's still battling pancreatic cancer. She's holding on as long as she can. They asked Trump about her yesterday. And, of course, you know what? I think Trump looks at her about things. She's a tough old broad.
I wish her the best. I hope she's better. I didn't hear that, actually. She was just hospitalized? No, that's too bad. No, I wish her the best.
Yeah. What do you think he's going to say? Well, I think you probably think, oh, I hope she dies, that old bag. People are so stupid. They are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show yesterday. And speaking of yesterday, just rambles. That's all Trump did yesterday. It was a bit of a rambling, bizarre thing that was supposed to be about China and what he was going to do to China when it comes to Hong Kong.
Today I signed legislation and an executive order to hold China accountable for its oppressive actions against the people of Hong Kong.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. We need to hold China accountable on a lot of stuff. Absolutely a lot of stuff. We need to hold them accountable. I don't know why, and it's weird, because think about this, just for a second. There is a path, and we've talked to Gordon Chang about this on numerous occasions, a guy who knows probably more about China from an economic and political standpoint than anybody else outside of China. And he continues to tell us when we have him on, hey, there's two paths this world's going to go. We're either going to go our path or we're going to go their path. But there isn't a third option. And we need to start holding them accountable. And for all the Russia stuff, if I'm China, you know who I'd like to see in there? I'd love to see Joe Biden. I'd love to see it, because Joe's not going to come out and say,
no country in the world has ever ripped off the United States like the incredible job that they did on this country and the people that ran it.
Yeah. He's right. And we need to hold him accountable. And I don't think we will hold him accountable the way that we should. Somebody tweeted at me yesterday, hey, supposedly they're giving their army a vaccine. And I'm like, well, I don't know how much I believe that. But I said, if they had a vaccine and it was real and nobody knew about it except for the Chinese and it got out and the world doesn't hold them accountable, then you guys are just punks. We should absolutely hold them accountable. But that's a big if. That's a big if. It's just crazy, though. And it's crazy because so many people are like, I believe China more than I believe America. I'm like, you're an idiot. Look, we got a lot of issues, but that's a different world. It's a whole different world, kids. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
As we started to reopen, we're seeing the surges that we're seeing today as we speak. We can get a handle on that. I am really confident we can if we step back. You don't necessarily need to shut down again. Pull back a bit and then proceed in a very prudent way, observing the guidelines of going from step to step. There are things you can do now: physical distance, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, washing hands. Those things, as simple as they are, can turn it around.
Fauci. Yeah, it's not that hard. Look, guys, here is... Treat it like the worst flu you can get. Flu kills 50 to 80,000 people a year. But what would that be like if we had no vaccine? Maybe it would be double or triple that. What would that be like if we had no treatment? Maybe 4 or 5 times that. That would be ugly and nasty. So let's treat it like that. We've turned the virus into this political game of craziness, and we've allowed it become the woke virus culture. And that's what we have now. If you don't wear a mask, or you say, I don't want to wear a mask somewhere, automatically you're a Trump supporter and you're bad and you're a racist. And if you think kids should go to school, that you hate children and that all you care about is a capitalistic free market and that you are evil and bad. And it's the exact opposite on the other way. If you wear a mask, you're a wuss. You don't like freedom, and you're kowtowing, and you're sheeple. That's not true. It's just, first of all, you never know anybody's situation. That's what I always say. You don't know. Person wearing a mask, you don't know their situation. You know who's at home. Secondly, store asked you to wear a mask. I keep going back to it. Costco said, hey, you need to wear a top hat if you want to come in here. And we're like, I'm not wearing a top hat. Well, you're not getting in. So it's a top hat. You would have to do that. It's about being cordial and respectful to one another, which we've lost because it's the woke virus culture. What do you mean by woke? We've made it political. We've made this virus political. Case in point, the school situation. Do you remember when this first started to spread? And we were monitoring it last year. We were talking about it. So anyway, I do my other show. My on-air partner, Gatos, he said, whose mother, by the way, passed away from COVID-19. But he says to me, he goes, man, you were all over this thing. I said, yeah, we were. So that's part of what I do compared to leading a little more local in the local show. I said, but let me tell you something. This started out as we need to flatten the curve. We need to get it under control. We need to make sure our health care was ready to handle, especially in certain areas, what was coming potentially. And then it became political. And the politics started to grow. And the divisiveness started to grow. And then it was Trump versus the media in this. Then it was hoax culture. And it was all of these things. And it was fake news. And it wasn't fake news. And it was real. And it shouldn't have been that way. But now it's that way. And the kids are in the middle of it. Absolutely in the middle of it. And if you don't think this is real, right, this is what's nuts. Fauci yesterday talking about kids in school.
So as a principal, we should try as the default to get the kids to stay in school. However, that's going to vary from where you are in the country and what the dynamics of the outbreak are in your particular region.
Okay. But we got to get the kids in school. It needs to happen. Well, Chad, they could get it and die. Don't you like it? Well, you don't care about the flu season. You're not keeping your kid home for the flu season. Well, no. Well, the kids die more readily from the flu than this. Well, they could be spreaders. Well, you don't care because you don't care about kids giving the flu to grandma or grandpa, potentially, having a mild case of it. Well, I mean, it's see, we're picking and choosing. We've remember what I said, the flu is the one thing that's not political. We all know we don't like the flu, but we've managed to make this a woke virus battle. Case in point, LAUSD, largest teachers union in the country. They have a large, left-leaning, insane control of much of California's politics. Voted early in this game when they first closed down that they didn't want to come back to school unless there was a lot of things. Now, these are some of the things they're demanding before they return to the classroom, potentially. You ready for this, kids? Soak it up. These are some of the specifics. The union's arguing that reopening schools without a vaccine will further spread the virus and compound the trauma. Okay. But hold on. On top of that, there's a subsection called local support inside of, hey, just like a clean vote. When would you guys like to go back to school? When do you feel healthy? You know, just something clean that has only to do with the virus. They're arguing. Are you ready for this? A moratorium on charter schools and defunding the police. What? What's that have to do with the virus? It's woke virus culture. They say police violence is the leading cause of death and trauma for black people. It's a moral issue and a public health issue. By the way, heart disease and cancer, number one killer of African Americans. They must shift the astronomical amount of money devoted to policing to education and other essential needs such as housing and public health. As for charter schools, they should be temporarily suspended because why? Because they give people choice. And we know they don't want anybody to have the opportunity to have choice. They're pissed because they think these charter schools are double dipping. They also highlighted the state's more than 2 million undocumented residents who claim they are unfairly ineligible for federal and state benefits and subject to ICE raids and mass deportation. The undocumented students and their families must be supported during this crisis. What does this have to do with the virus? Nothing. It's part of the woke virus culture. There's a pandemic, there's an issue, there's an opportunity, and people are going to take it. It's a joke, and it's sad. Woke virus culture is real. It drives you crazy. It drives me crazy. I just want the data and the facts, and then let me do what's right for me and my family, and making sure that I do no harm to anybody else. The reality is, you went out today, and you got tested. Unless you never left the house, ever, in the last, say, 7 months, you wouldn't even know where you got it. That's the reality of it. It's crazy, and it's sad. But welcome to the woke virus culture. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Figured we'd talk about it for just a second. Do you think Trump's going to refer to her as Bloody Mary? That's his niece who's written a book. I got it. I'm so far behind on anything, but it was like one of my free Audible things. I'm like, well, I'll get it, whatever. You put very little stock. First of all, it's a family book, so it's going to come from your point of view. She's been really around the family in forever. It wasn't just Trump that wanted to stop this book. Why is that? Because there were a lot of other family members who feel like she's really using the name to drag everybody over the coals.
What's the single most important thing you think the country needs to know about your uncle?
He is utterly incapable of leading this country, and it's dangerous to allow him to do so.
Based on what you see now or what you saw then?
Based on what I've seen my entire adult life.
What exactly is that? I'm curious. Like, how close were you? Because I don't think you were that close. I don't think you were that close to him. And a lot of what you're talking about took place in the 80s and 90s. And by the way, there was also big battles when it comes to money. Shocker. And I think everybody who's ever had a family member die who had a little bit of money, not even a lot, just a little bit, you find out what happens when people start fighting over crumbs even. It's nuts.
April 2017, I'm going to end where I began.
Sure.
You see the president in the Oval Office, and you tell him, don't let them get you down. Did you mean that?
I did, actually. That was 4 months in. He already seemed very strained by the pressures. He'd never been in a situation before where he wasn't entirely protected from criticism or accountability or things like that.
Yeah. The accountability side. But nobody, look, whether you like Trump or not, the scrutiny and the battle between the media and him, and he gives as good as he gets, I don't care who you are, it wears on you. It does. It absolutely wears on you. You have to have a certain personality that does this stuff. When you look at CEOs and you look at great athletes, a lot of people talk about the close relationship between almost psychopaths, right? Like sociopaths, and because you need that. It's weird. You need that. You need that in some ways. Because you're going to withstand, especially, and I think going forward, it's even going to be more so that way. You need that. You need to be able to withstand things that are coming at you, the disdain, the hate, the twisted lies, the distortions. That's a tough thing.
Michael Flynn had just had to be fired, and from the get-go, it hadn't been going well. So I did mean it in some sense. I didn't mean I want you to keep doing what you're doing and get away with it, but and I just remember thinking, he seems tired. He seems like this is not what he signed up for, if he even knows what he signed up for. I thought his response was actually more enlightening than my statement. And he said, they won't get me. And so far, looks like he's right.
There you go. I don't know how much damage this will do. And you got to take everything like this with a grain of salt because of who's writing it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. She did go on to say eventually.
And if you're in the Oval Office today, what would you say to him?
Resign.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. He's like, oh, Mary told me to resign. I better do it. She's awesome. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. It's nuts. The woke culture virus, man. It's wokeness. So insane. I look back and I think to myself, my God, how did we get to this point? And I'm not even talking about the pandemic side. I'm just talking about how we took a pandemic and made it worse. We managed to take something and make it worse and political. That right there is that's something special. You got something there. You guys. Car Shield. Speaking of gotten some, it's time for you to get some. That's Car Shield. Car Shield's awesome. So let's say your car's got 5,000. Maybe your car's got 150,000 miles on it. Maybe your car, you're worried about your engine, your transmission. Maybe you're worried about the electronics in your car. Those things are expensive to fix. Whatever it is that you're looking for as far as protection in this day and age, Car Shield has your back for covered repairs. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And that shop is the shop that you choose. And the beauty of what Car Shield does is they can tailor make it for you and your budget. Plans start as low as $99 a month. And you call them up. Be specific. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, save you 10%. Be specific on what you're looking for. I'm looking for this. This is what I need to protect on my car. This is what I'm worried about. They will get it handled. It's simple. It's easy. You can go to carshield.com and use code Benson. Take a look around. But better yet, call 800-CAR-6000, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson. Save yourself 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Peacock is where you're going to watch all of your Law & Order reruns, plus The Office when it arrives next year from Netflix. The streaming service from NBC Universal also has some new shows, the David Schwimmer comedy Intelligence.
I think we can learn a lot from each other.
And an ambitious series based on the Aldous Huxley book Brave New World. It also has current NBC shows and movies, including The Matrix and Do the Right Thing. Prices range from free with ads to $10 with no ads.
Yeah, so you get free with ads. That's kind of cool. Like that's something right there. And, you know, Netflix still is the leader, but everybody's trying. I think HBO, Quibi is struggling big time. And not only is Quibi, so if you guys know what Quibi is, it's made for the phone. And you can watch it on the phone or tablet. And they're episodes that range from like 6 minutes to 10 minutes. So you may have a series. The series may be 6 episodes, but it's only 60 minutes. And they're just almost like boom, 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 boom. And you finish the series, you move on to something else. And they got billions of dollars thrown at them, and it has just been a nightmare. Infighting, it has been ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. HBO, kind of a waste. I don't think anybody really cares. At the end of the day, it's Netflix, it's Hulu still. Disney's done okay because Disney had such a vast library. And the other thing Disney had was, if you're any one of these streaming services that was early on, there are things that you had to lock up. Right? So you've got The Office. That allowed you, because that's the comfort food that people like. Friends, comfort food. Seinfeld, certain things that has 150, 200 episodes that you could always go back that will entertain you. That comfort food thing. And then you have to have a vast library on top of that. And for a lot of these, they didn't have that. They didn't have that. And it is... it's showing in some of these things. So HBO's just been, it's like, why would I want this? Disney had that too. The vast library is the fact that they've got all these movies that are Disney, and on top of that, they have a bunch of actual properties that they own that they can say, well, these are ours now. And then on top of that, they also have a cult following in a major way. People love Disney. Speaking of Disney, we're trying to figure out what to do here. The world seems to be falling apart. Disneyland Paris.
Bonjour, s'il vous plaît, on passe bien aux distanciations sociales, merci.
Oh, the sounds of Disneyland Paris. Whoa, it's opening again. Ha ha, Jean-Marie. Yeah, Disneyland Paris opens. So, that's kind of funny. We're trying to figure out what to do here. It's like, should we play sports? Should we not play sports? Should we do this? Should we do that? We looked at everybody else. I'm like, why is it a nightmare here? Because it is. It's a nightmare at this moment in time. I think it'll get better. It will. It's not the end of the world. I think a lot of people think it is. I spoke to an economist yesterday from ASU. He says even if we get through this year at the rate we're going right now, and we can get a virus and get a vaccine for this virus and get moving, he thinks by the end of next year, early into the year after that, we could be back on footing with where we were pre-coronavirus. But you never know. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What do you tell parents and teachers who feel that it's unsafe to go back?
I would tell parents and teachers that you should find yourself a new person, whoever's in charge of that decision, because it's a terrible decision. Children and parents are dying from that trauma, too. They're dying because they can't do what they're doing. Mothers can't go to work because all of a sudden they have to stay home and watch their child, and fathers. There's a tremendous strain on that whole side of the equation.
So it's a balancing act.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. Talked to my mom the other night. She's beyond apoplectic. She's like, whoa. She's like, I thought you were... She's beyond pissed. Like, just freaking lost her mind. My mom never curses. She didn't. Why? Because kids aren't going to be going back to school. Why? Well, because it's, everybody could die. I'm like, what? I'm like, well, where's that data? That's my thing. Where's the data? And I get it. Look, it's confusing as hell. It is. Because you can look up something and get conflicting reports, and both of those reports are written by people who are doctors. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But even this skids and the school thing and with the woke, and I call it the woke virus culture, even that is nuts. So yesterday I asked people, and I got a lot of response. You feel comfortable with your kid going back to school? Do you want your child to go back to school? And people, a lot of teachers like, yeah, we need to get back in the classroom. I'm not worried about it. A lot of teachers like, nope, we need more funding too for everything. That's the world we live in. Right. Funding works for your project, but not for somebody else's. Money won't fix that. Money will fix my project, but not your project. The woke culture. And they're like, I'm like, well, the data says this. And then they're like, where'd you get the data? So you give them the data, right? Like, here's the data. Here's the actual report. Here's the data of the actual data from the report. Well, we're not that country. Like, you want to compare us to other countries when it's bad. When something supports that this should happen, you're like, well, we're not that country. That's the kind of craziness, because we have made this thing political. We've made a virus, right? A virus. It doesn't care if you're black or white, rich or poor. It's a virus. It's not. We have made a virus political in a lot of ways. And both sides are guilty of it. Both sides are guilty of it. And the media is guilty of it. President Trump has played it up. Joe Biden has played it up. We have taken a situation where the ship is sinking. And we decided, hey, you know the best thing we can do? We can cut more holes in the ship. What? Yeah. That's what we've done. Think about it. Soak that up for a second. It's crazy. How does this help you or me or anybody? It doesn't. It doesn't. Pisses you and I off. Why? Because we're that exhausted majority. Most of you listening, little bit center right, little bit center left. Are there extremes probably on both sides listening? Yeah. And you know how I know? Because you guys are going to tweet at me and tell me I'm a jerk and a horrible human being. But the rest of us are sitting around going, well, I want to look at the data and I want to make up my own mind. So I tell everybody, when you send me a report from Huffington Post or Salon or, Occupy Democrats, I just laugh. And when you send me a report from Patriots are the only people that matter or, red wing, right wing news, and I just start laughing, I don't want to hear it. I want to see it for myself. I want to find all of the stuff. We have very limited data on this, but the data shows that, it's safe for kids to go back to school. Very good chance they do not spread this virus easily, if at all, and that adults are affected by it the most. Well, aren't you worried about administrators? And aren't you worried about, what do we do? Teachers, it's easier for a teacher to move further away and to social distance than a 9-year-old. But you can take measures. But what they're showing is, at least right now, very, very little chance that it spreads easily from a child to an adult, which is crazy because normally that's what happens. But woke culture has put us in a situation where you sit here and you laugh because all you see are people fighting over crap that they shouldn't be fighting over. We've turned a virus, we've made it even more political than usual, and now we're weaponizing it against each other. And that is stupid. I expect nothing less, though, anymore. I shouldn't be shocked. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. It does drive me crazy that we see this happening, but, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? At this moment in time, what are you going to do? You're just going to take a deep breath and you say, I need to relax. Chad, I need to relax. I need to take some relaxing breaths. What is it that I need to do? You could hug a tree. Right? Like they've got that going on. That's what Australians are telling everybody. Hey there, you're struggling. You're struggling in life. You don't know what to do. Maybe it's time best you go out and hug a tree. You're missing that interaction with people. I don't miss interaction with people. Maybe you can listen to Burger King. They're saving the world. This is amazing. I want you guys to understand this. All the chaos and craziness that's going on, sometimes it's good to just take a deep breath. And this is one of those deep breath situations. Not too deep, though, because, cow farts.
When cows fart and burp and splatter, well, it ain't no laughing matter. They're releasing methane every time they do. And that methane from the rig pollutes our planet, warming me and you. Yes, that methane that passes a greenhouse gas that'll trap the sun's heat and change our climate too.
If my cow ain't farting, must be me.
Reducing methane.
That's real. So Burger King is changing what they're feeding the cows to cut down on their farts. So we cut down on climate change. And that will change a lot of stuff. So that's just one thing. And then Biden, of course, is going to do his best to save us all.
When Donald Trump thinks about climate change, the only word he can muster is hoax. When I think about climate change, the word I think of is jobs.
Jobs. So each of them think about climate change in a way, but it doesn't matter because we're fixing it with the cow thing. Feeding them something different. Makes them not fart. The non-farty cows. We took something and we made it political. Isn't that nuts? We've made things so political. We've made a virus political. We're making cow farts political. We make the environment political. Why? Because everybody has an agenda. What's your agenda? My agenda is, it's never to get progress and seek the truth. It's about how can I benefit off this? And on top of that, you throw in then issues. It's not only how can I benefit, it's how can I benefit? And in some cases, how can I punish? And in other cases, how can I control? Nuts. It's just nuts. I don't know. Sometimes I get frustrated and I realize, all right, there's 70% of us. 70% of us are the exhausted majority. 70%. Keep that in mind. 60 to 70% are the exhausted majority. The problem is you only need about 15% of people to sway public opinion in such a way as to control narratives and situations. So that's why we need to be loud. We want truth, we want facts over feelings, and we don't need to be a-holes about it. And I don't need, and that's part of the problem is not only do people nowadays have to win an argument at all costs, they have to crush you in said argument and punish. It's not about, oh, did you see it from this point of view? Did you hear about that? No, it's none of that. It's like, let me show you this, and then, by the way, as I'm showing you this, let me show you why you're wrong, and you're stupid, and you're an idiot, and everything about you. And then what you do is you take it personal. Oh, my God. Virus. It's the woke virus culture. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Raycon. Best earbuds around. E25s. I got new Raycons yesterday. Kids take them. I got them. They're amazing. The control, the sound, seamless Bluetooth pairing. It's just incredible. It makes such a difference, especially for me that I do a lot of stuff, especially because doing the videos, I'm editing, I'm doing a lot of different things. And a lot of times I just want to hyper focus. I want the nice noise isolation and to be able to do my things. And that's what I have with Raycons. Well under $100. And what you get is the E25s, which are everyday amazing, incredible. I've had all of them. The ones with the dangling little wires and stems, the ones like, you got to have these. These are the coolest. And let me tell you, these things blow them out of the water. Comfortable, stylish, cool. Snoop Dogg, he loves them, so they can't be bad, right? You will love them. I tell you that right now. You will. Try them out for yourself. Best earbuds around at a price that's way better than everybody else's. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 15% right there. buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and see what's trending on the interwebs. Let's first and foremost start at Twitter, where it's divisive and angry all the time. Scaramucci's trending. What has he done? God only knows. He's just making fun of the fact that Kanye's dropped out and that he lasted longer than Kanye did, which is kind of funny. So Scaramucci was there for, 10 days? Kanye ran for president for about an hour. And I don't think he really ran for president. I think he's always said he wants to run for president. But 2024 was his jam. LA Times trending because they have an idea for a new Star-Spangled Banner. So they're going to roll that out. I wonder if it's like those girls. I hate America. Banksy's latest coronavirus artwork is removed from the London Underground. Look at Banksy doing his thing. Nick Cannon's trending all over because he was let go from all of his CBS stuff. Wild and out host because he won't apologize or acknowledge his perpetuating views on anti-Semitism that he continues to throw out there. Says he doesn't have any hate in his heart. Talks about the fact that he can't be anti-Semitic because of much of what the football player, Sean Jackson, talked about. Blacks, Hebrews, the battle that's going on there. And so he refused to apologize. And they said, well, you're gone. You're out. Out you go. Head on over to the fun world of Google, and there's just lots of crazy stuff. Chrissy Teigen, she deleted 60,000 tweets out of concern for her family. Second stimulus is trending. Ivanka Trump, she posed with a Goya. So if you guys don't know, Goya's CEO, Robert Yunan, I think his name is. I might screw that up, and if I did, I apologize. Came out and praised Trump, said we were truly blessed at the time to have a leader like President Trump who's a builder. And, of course, you can't do that nowadays and be anything in the woke world. So what happened is boycott Goya campaign. And they went after it. Goya, which makes beans and stuff. So she tweeted a picture holding up a Goya. And it said, if it's Goya, it has to be good. And then it was also said in Spanish underneath there. And, of course, people were like, well, they're already in enough trouble. I'm like, well, what are they in trouble for? What did they do? Well, they supported Trump. No. You said they're in trouble, implying they did something wrong. What is it they did wrong? Well, they supported Trump. No, that's not a crime. That's not trouble. You don't like their speech. You don't like somebody's point of view. What do you think's going to happen to you one day? You want to cancel everything. Imagine what it's like when they come for you. Because much like everything, coronavirus, didn't think it could happen to me. Guess what happens? They come for you. This woke culture that has allowed us to turn a virus into woke virus culture is insane. He supports Trump. And, well, they're obviously evil. He's a different point of view than you. Why can't people see that? The canceling of everything based on a different point of view is as fascist as you say the other side is. Enough. Oh, I'm just getting started, kids. We got plenty to talk about. Hold on to your hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When they go into phase 2, they're going to increase their numbers, 600 volunteers. Phase 3, which they said they will be starting this summer, along with other developing groups around the world, will then look at 30,000 30,000 volunteers. So they're collecting a lot of data.
Dr. Jennifer Ashton, ABC correspondent, there talking about Moderna and their first peer-to-peer released research on the vaccine for COVID-19, which there's a lot of stuff in there. There's always stuff we don't know as well.
We don't know quite yet whether those antibodies are effective in fighting and preventing the virus and for how long those antibodies will effectively last.
But I think they're starting to think we got 45 people we've given the shots to. So what you do is you get 2 shots 28 days apart. And then they're monitoring for several reasons. A, did you get it? B, did you grow a third eye? Right? It's like, all right, here's the good news. You didn't get the coronavirus. The bad news is you're going to have diarrhea for the rest of your life. Nonstop explosion. Never know when it's going to happen. You're like, what? And web feet. You're like, okay, I'll take my chances with COVID. That's some of the stuff. So we've got through phase 1. Next.
When they go into phase 2, they're going to increase their numbers, 600 volunteers. Phase 3, which they said they will be starting this summer, along with other developing groups around the world, will then look at 30,000 volunteers. So they're collecting a lot of data. They're following safety and efficacy. And remember, the manufacturing would have to start at the end of 2020 to make millions and millions of doses.
Yeah. So even if they said, let's just say they say by October, November, we believe we've got a vaccine. We're 100% sure that it is both safe and effective in fighting COVID-19. And they start producing it. It is going to take a while for a lot of people to get it. And on top of that, you're still going to be grappling with the fact that some people aren't going to take it. Some areas of the country may not receive it. So there's still going to be some issues. And you know that there's also going to be manufacturing problems. Because, of course, there will be. But it's good news. It's good news. We're moving on the way. Like Dr. Jennifer Ashton said, 45 to 600, 630,000. The UK is rolling out their version of what they believe the vaccine will be. And we may have more than one vaccine, and there is nothing wrong with that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. You can text the program. It's the insanity of the chaos we were talking about before we went to break. And there is a lot of lunacy out there. And a lot of it's how it's spun. And people give you half-truths, kind of a little bit of truth, some truth here, some truth there, truth as they see it. It's unfortunate in this day and age that people don't want to come out and say, well, here's the facts and the data, because it's tough, especially in the journalistic world. And part of that is because journalism has become such a business that's become so cutthroat, and because we consume it now the way that we wanted to. If we had 3 things to consume, and they were all giving you pretty much the exact same thing, but you didn't think they were giving you the truth, what do? Well, now you don't have to worry about that. Right? We just don't have the ABC, NBC, CBS nightly news and the newspapers that are handed to you, and we just take everything kind of at face value. Now we've got more information than ever before. We're able to go look at everything we possibly can, and we can also tailor that for our belief system. And so what do you have to do if you're a journalist? You have to be loud. You have to be crazy at times. You have to be over the top, because now you're in a competition. I got to get likes. I got to get shares. I got to get read throughs. I have to do this. If I don't get this, I don't get paid. And on top of that, you also get to the point now where you've stopped being a journalist and you're now an activist. And inside of that activism, you throw out the things that you throw out that you should be standing for, which is freedom of press. Let's hear all sides. Give me the facts. Now it's much like we talked about earlier. Goya. Goya's in trouble. Why? Because they support the president. Oh, they can't have a different belief? Nope. Should ban everybody from eating Goya. Well, that sounds a little fascist. No, it's not. Really? It feels that way. Feels like you want to stomp down. We're changing history. It's lunacy. And it's getting worse. And we have to stand up to crazy cancel culture, and not just the cancel culture of individuals because they have a different belief system or you don't like what somebody said. The slow way that we're allowing people to manipulate and change things inside of stories and the media without telling you all of the stuff. And we've got to stand up for the free speech side of stuff. Not even just you cancel an individual, but the canceling of truth and full stories that we should hear about. Case in point, listen to this story. This is just a random story about Trump and a couple in St. Louis that everybody has seen, right? When they go outside with their guns, and it's just. But listen to, you don't hear, the whole truth. You get kind of a perspective of, oh, this is how I'm going to deliver it.
In an interview with the conservative website, he jumped head on into another flashpoint.
Y'all, she got a gun!
The white couple who pointed guns at Black Lives Matter protesters marching outside their St. Louis home.
They were going to be beat up badly, and the house was going to be totally ransacked and probably burned down.
But that is not what the video shows. This as he faces growing criticism for his handling of the pandemic, with COVID cases surging.
Okay, so white couple. We've seen them. They had their house raided. And she's like, oh, yeah, they were just walking down the street protesting. Well, no, it was a private community of which they broke through the gates. According to the couple. Well, the video doesn't show that. We don't look. So it's so funny because the video matters in some sense, depending on what side of the aisle you're on in certain situations. That goes for both sides. We never see the whole thing. According to them, they were threatened. People were on their property, and they threatened them. They felt they had a right to do it. Of course, next thing you know, police come over, confiscate stuff. It's insane. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is insane. That's the truth side that we need to say, well, hold on, what's the whole story? Because you're giving me a perspective of, well, this couple did something wrong. They have a right to defend their house. By the way, Missouri's a castle doctrine state, which means now you can't shoot somebody for trespassing. But if you feel there's an imminent threat, if somebody comes to your door and threatens with a mob, regardless of colors, let's say 10 Nazis showed up, skinheads, threatened to burn your house down and kill you, and you went outside and you wanted to protect yourself, and you said, I felt there was an immediate threat, and we saw some of the video, and we're like, well, it's not what it showed, though. That's the crap that pisses people off. The baloney, the BS, the cancel culture, the canceling of truth as well as individuals has to stop. It does. It's crazy. Goya. Ivanka Trump holds up a Goya can. People are like, they're in trouble already. From who? Who are they in trouble with? Well, we need to hashtag Goya's party's over, hashtag cancel Goya. Why do we need to cancel them? Because the guy that runs the company has a differing opinion than you? Why don't you cancel everybody who has a differing opinion? Individuals. Even if it's your mom and dad. Cancel them. Well, my mom's a conservative, or my mom's... Oh, cancel them. Just get them canceled. Go to their work. Get them fired. Say you don't believe in that. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, why not? Why not? Well, because why? Because it's stupid. It is. taking a shot at the cancel culture and the stupidness. But we should be worried a bit about it because it's seeping into our world. We've talked about this for a few years. Remember, these kids are coming out of college. They live in a world where hating America is absolutely fabulous. That everybody else has it going on perfect and right, and there's no strife anywhere else, and America is evil. We live in a world right now, and I'm not talking about the average college student. The problem is there's enough of them, and as they go out into the world of workforce, what you're finding is they're bringing all that craziness, chaos, and lunacy with them. And that is not a good thing. That is not a win. The fact that we can't have discord in this country, the fact that everybody wants to just, the moment somebody says something somebody dislikes, got to get rid of them. Got to fire them. Got to ruin their lives. Got to shut them down. If you don't like Goya beans because you don't like them, why don't you just go, I'm not going to buy Goya beans. I don't have to tell the world that. Right? If it's that important to you. Right? If that stuff is that important to you. We got to get rid of these evil slave owners that were once presidents and you don't care about slavery. Yeah, I do. Really? What kind of phone are you using? I got an iPhone. Where do you think that cobalt comes from? You think it's magical? Or do you think there's cobalt mines with slaves? How about your cocoa? I think that comes from. Well, it's different because I like tweeting. It's the hypocrisy. It's silly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one. Your love, your hate. Somebody asked me the other day, people try to cancel you? I'm like, well, and they try. I mean, I don't really, it's like, I just don't get it. I've never gotten it. I just don't. I've never, people say horrible things about me, and in no point in time do I ever think, man, I need to contact that person's work and get rid of them. I could not do that. I couldn't. You know who I blame for this? Yelp. We gave Yelp the opportunity, and instead of saying, this place is great, it became a place where people could go bitch about stuff that they didn't like snacks and food or service here and there. And then it just festered out. Festering. That's why you need a good night's sleep. That's why Purple's here. Technology's changed everything. Some for the great, some for the not so great. One thing it's not done, though, was really worked with beds. Outside, I go up and down. There wasn't a lot. That's where Purple came along. They patented the grid. It's the Purple Grid. Instantly adjusts your body's natural shape and sleep style. It is truly for every body. Whether you're bigger, thin, tall, short, you like to sleep on the side, your back, whatever it is, these 2,800 grids, which are open-air channels that with naturally temperature-neutral gel, helps you sleep cool and also helps you sleep just warm enough that you don't have to worry about, oh, it's too hot, it's too cold. You don't have to worry about any of that. It's comfortable all over, and the beauty of it is it's never going to sink. It's never going to lose shape. Purple's so confident about this, and it should be, because I tell you what, I slept last night. My little watch says I slept for like 6 hours. I went to bed a little bit later, and I got up at like 2:30, and I slept so amazing. 100 nights, risk-free. Free shipping, free returns. Experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use the promo code Benson for a limited time. You get $150 off any Purple mattress order of $1,500 or more. That's purple.com/Benson. Purple.com/Benson. Save $150 off any order over $1,500. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
It's going to be a heartbreaker, but I guess we got to do what we got to do on this new normal.
That's the new normal. That's Pete Murphy right there. He's upset.
Without fans, you miss something that brings everybody together, regardless of your political affiliation.
Can't even decide on that anymore. So the Eagles announced yesterday, and and Philadelphia announced that the Eagles and the Phillies will have no fans at any game. 0 fans at any game, which is, look, it sucks. Man, that super sucks. But we're doing our best, and that's all we can do. That's all you can do in this situation is do your best. Stop making it political. Do your best. Somebody asks you, hey, we're going to enforce, or we're going to put in a mask in public places, meaning you're going to somebody's office. Maybe, like my office, they asked us to wear a mask about a month and a half ago. I do it. I know there's a couple people I work with that have underlying conditions. I want everybody to feel safe. Some of it's psychological. They don't ask me to wear it in the bathroom. They don't ask me to wear it when I'm outside. I do it out of respect for my coworkers. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not taking away my freedom. We've managed to take a virus and make it political. It's so bizarre. It is so weird that we managed to do that. But we did. So congratulations to everybody. You turned a horrible thing into even a worse thing. But I expect nothing less. As you continue to look around, you should expect nothing less. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Maybe you just need, I don't know, a hug.
I think we are not hugging too many people in these days. Not our children, not our grandchildren. And hugging a tree is quite a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Right before they arrest you for being weird. I think he's missing something. I guess you can hug a tree. I don't know. Used to be a tree hugger. I don't hug trees, as I'm a pass on that. But if you want to, this is where animals are great, especially if you're alone. If you don't have anybody, you're not close to anybody, and you have a chance to adopt a pet, even if it's a cat, as much as they may hate you, it's at least something else. I have my lizards. I have my dogs and stuff, but I have the lizards. I love my lizards. Last night I had Agatha, my python, out. And it was awesome because for whatever reason, when everybody else handles her, when I handle her, she just loves it. So it was nice. Just 15 minutes of just relaxation. The tree thing's a bit weird. Just let you know that. Maybe the tree doesn't want you to hug. Have you thought of that? Have you ever thought maybe the tree's like, you know what? I don't want you to do that. And I am going to talk to, where's HR? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Vaccine, there are multiple candidates that are in various stages of clinical trial. One or two of them will go into phase 3 for efficacy literally at the end of this month. So we're pretty cautiously optimistic that at the end of the year, beginning of this coming 2021, we will have one and maybe more, I hope more than one vaccine that would be available.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It would be. It's a possibility. Moderna is made that first leap. They had 45 people that they were working with. You got the shot every couple days. So you got the shot every 28 days. But you only got 2 shots. So far, so good. But that's only 45 people. What's next?
When they go into phase 2, they're going to increase their numbers, 600 volunteers. Phase 3, which they said they will be starting this summer, along with other developing groups around the world, will then look at 30,000 volunteers. So they're collecting a lot of data. They're following safety and efficacy. And remember, the manufacturing would have to start at the end of 2020 to make millions and millions of doses.
Dr. Jennifer Ashton right there. ABC chief medical correspondent. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. So we have schools that aren't going to be open. I'll be surprised. You'll get a few schools here and there that may open, but I will be surprised, like in LA and New York, if they open up this year. LA's a whole nother craziness with the union demands for the funding of police and a moratorium on charter schools and just this insanity that they've put into what it is that they want before they return. Here's something interesting, though. My son's school. Now, I've told you about my son's school. He goes to a STEM school. Education is extremely important. Take it from me, kid who decided I'm going to go to Europe and try my luck at soccer. I'm bouncing out of here. Did independent studies, went over to Europe, took my GED or the high school equivalency thing, went to Europe, did some studying, did a lot of stuff on my own. But I've always been a huge proponent of education. You get education a lot of different ways. But his school, which is in San Diego, and the San Diego Unified School District is kind of on the line with the LAUSD, not as insane. His school sends out a letter yesterday, said, we are asking the San Diego Unified School District if we can have a waiver and resume classes starting on August 31st as normal with no real measures in place, allowing for the kids to be kids. All the extracurricular activities will stay the same. Outside of some hygiene and maybe a few social distancing, they're not going to do anything different. Now, they have to get the waiver, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I think the unions will probably have a final say on that, but they asked parents and they asked their teachers if they would be okay with it. And I don't know what that looks like as a kid. I do know that the more that I hear, the more that I see, the more that I read, that this is a much different situation for children than it is for adults, even in a school setting.
This has been a strange pandemic because usually for respiratory viruses, children are the first and the most substantially affected. And this has really been a flip of that, where it's our adults, and particularly our older adults, that have been more affected.
In fact, kids only account for 2% of all cases. Doctors say they don't expect that number to significantly increase when schools open because kids don't appear to be good at spreading the virus.
Are kids as good at transmitting the virus as adults?
That's a question. And these are all, so that's a reporter right there talking to several pediatricians from MSNBC. So you got the MSNBC reporter asking the questions. Hey, are kids good at this spreading? Because that's I don't think too many people outside of your child having an underlying condition or maybe you having one. But if you're just a normal person, pretty good shape, you're in your 30s or 40s, and your children are in good shape, I don't think you're too really worried about whether or not your kids are going to get this because I think the data is proving this thing out. Even Fauci came out and said, look, it's even smaller than I thought it was as far as the risk to children. A lot of what we hear is the risk to teachers and administrators and whatnot. Hence the reason why they're adding so many layers onto stuff politically in a lot of these things. So they figure, well, we've got an opportunity. Let's take advantage of it. But is there a risk? And how easy is it for children? Because all of the studies I've seen from Sweden to the French to several other studies in the European Union, along in conjunction with us, show that children don't really spread it that much to adults.
The data that's come out now seems to show that most transmissions occur from adults to adults or adults to children.
The younger you are, probably the less likely you are to be able to transmit the disease.
Well, many teachers are concerned about reopening school so soon. The 5 doctors we spoke to agreed. The benefits of being in the classroom far outweigh the risk of disease. But the key is to reopen safely.
Yeah, of course. You want to make sure the teachers feel good, and that's why you talk to the teachers. Well, it's going to make you feel good. Because if your thing is, well, I don't want to go back to school. This is something I asked the teacher yesterday. here in Arizona. Well, I wouldn't feel safe until there's a vaccine. I said, so let's say we never get a vaccine. We find a therapeutic or two that work pretty well. But we never get a vaccine. So what you're telling me is you're never going to teach again. Well, I didn't say that. Well, see, then why did you say that? And they're using a lot of these unions. I'm not talking about the individual teachers. A lot of these unions are looking at this as an opportunity to strike without striking, to have certain demands thrown out there, like defund the police, LA Unified School District, take care of non-documented aliens with housing and food, LA Unified School District. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? This is insane. And a moratorium on charter schools because, quite frankly, that's not fair. That we have competition. What does this have to do with the virus? Nothing. But this is the insanity that's out there. They're using a pandemic, the unions. I'm not talking about individual teachers. They're using the pandemic for a political woke opportunity to strike without striking with the excuse of we don't feel comfortable. By the way, here's some more demands we'd like. And you know what? You're paying live concert prices for video on demand. Think about that with your tax money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. What did I see yesterday? There was a meme yesterday. It's all Netflix, $14 a month, Hulu, $10.99. And it was like, it broke it down like Disney was $6. And then it said Harvard, $50,000. That's what you're paying right there, kids. Oh, my Lord. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. She spoke. Bloody Mary. That's what we're calling her. I got to give her a cool name. That's Mary, not Quancontrary. It's Mary Trump, his niece. She was in the Oval Office 3.5 years ago. She's talking to him. You know, said he looked down and dejected. It was just after the whole Flynn stuff. And you know, and she said, you know, I don't think he knew what he was doing.
You know, Michael Flynn had just had to be fired, and from the get-go, it hadn't been going well. So I did mean it in some sense. You know, I didn't mean I want you to keep doing what you're doing and get away with it. But, and I just remember thinking, he seems tired. He seems like this is not what he signed up for, if he even knows what he signed up for. I thought his response was actually more enlightening than my statement. And he said, they won't get me. And so far, looks like he's right.
Yeah, they haven't got him. So she said, you know, you look down. Is everybody getting to you? You really didn't know what you signed up for? I think anybody knows. First of all, whether you like a president, don't like a president, I think we can all agree. And every president, no matter who they are, has all said the same thing. You really don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know what it's like. And Trump magnifies that because everything he says is clickbait, trauma, drama. I mean, you know, trauma to some people because they've been triggered. Drama to the media because they overplay it. Craziness to his people. It's crazy. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You've no idea. And they've all said that. Everybody. Obama said it. Clinton said it. Bush said it. Reagan said it. Carter said it. They've all said it. You don't really know until you're there. And then you get to see what it's like. She also went on to say this.
And if you're in the Oval Office today, what would you say to him?
Resign.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. See how the book does. A lot of, it wasn't just Trump, by the way. I just, you know, the Donald. There was a lot of people inside of the family that tried to put a stop to this because she's telling one perspective, and that's all you're getting. You're getting her perspective of something, and maybe she believes all this stuff. Maybe she does. I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Valor Gold Group. How about this? $55.9 trillion. That is what the debt has surged. It's U.S. debt. Corporate government borrowing way up. U.S. dollar lost a third of its value in the last 20 years. If you'd taken the same amount of money that you've placed in the stock market and you split it in two and you put that into gold and silver, 20 years ago, so 2 decades ago, gold and silver would have outperformed stocks and bonds by 300%. Gold markets ready for an explosion. The dollar's weakening. You got volatility that's at record pace. Valor Gold Group's here to help. 800-202-6936. Call them today. Get a free exclusive coffee, the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence, as well as giving you an immediate source of money when you need it, and build on that wealth. Not just about protecting your wealth. Think bigger. Think, how can I protect to the downside and give me upside potential? That is gold and silver. It's IRA qualified. That's IRA. They've got a time-tested, proven strategy with over 50 years of experience. And what I love about them is they take the old, they combine it with the new, with systems and algorithms to give you the best system possible. It's a free exclusive copy of the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence. Valor Gold Group. Call them today, 800-202-6936. Or go to valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. VALOR goldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege. Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for that.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
It's still my favorite rejoiner. Point of personal privilege. Please don't use gendered language. If you guys don't know what that's from, that is from the Socialists of America. They met in Chicago last year. I think it was about this time last year. And it was one of those things where they were trying to set up a meeting. There was all these people in a room. And by all these people, I mean, there was like 100 people or 200 people. They're trying to set up a meeting in this room. And this guy, every time that somebody raised their hand to ask a question, they had to preface, he, she, they, then, all the stuff that matters apparently. And there were so many rules that they never really got to the meeting. They were just so busy setting up rules. That's something to think about. Speaking of rules, it's the Walmart CEO, Doug McMillon, talking about masking up, and this is hilarious.
Our stores that are in hotspot areas have an increase in cases, and we have some additional steps that we take to try and make sure that they are kept safe. So far, on a per capita basis, both in case count and fatalities, we're well below the numbers that we're seeing at state, county, or national levels.
Will I be required to wear a mask if I go into Walmart?
You would be in about 3,700 of the locations where either governor or someone else has mandated it. We don't currently mandate that in our other stores.
Oh, yeah, you do. Now you do. Came out, they mandated Sam's Club and Walmart now. You've got to wear a mask. Are you not going to go there? Now we get to see the battles of chaos and craziness. I'm going to go in, not wear a mask, show everybody my freedom. What? I'm going to show everybody my freedom. Okay. They're asking you. They're mandating you wear a mask. I shouldn't have to wear a mask. I shouldn't have to. Well, you don't have to go in the store. Remember, you don't have to go in the store. That's it. Nobody wants to wear a mask. Nobody. You just don't have to go in the store. If you don't like the rule they set, if they only want to serve tall people or people who wear top hats, and those are the rules, there you go. It's nuts, right? You go to an amusement park and it says you have to be this tall to ride the ride. Or you have to be able to fit in a certain way because some of you have nutritionally overachieved and it's tough. And you're like, well, it's taking away my freedom. No, it's just, look, this is what the rule is right here at this thing. When you have your own amusement park and you want to ride naked, you can. This is the rule here. That's it. That's all it is. Stop screaming about you losing your freedom. Now, if they come in your house and they tell you got to wear a mask in your house, if they come inside and tell you, hey, you were out back and you were in the pool and there was 2 people in the pool, there's only allowing 1 people in your pool, you tell them to kiss your ass. That's a much different story. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program as well. I just love that. He, her, shim, they, them. Like they're running out. They're making up words. The socialist of America trying to get all their stuff in. What do you identify as? It's a commercial today. If you were assigned female at birth. What? You were assigned something? Is that the way it worked? Made it seem like you got in the wrong line. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
But I would stick with respected medical authorities who have a track record of telling the truth, who have a track record of giving information and policy and recommendations.
But who is that? Because I can see all kinds of studies out there with people I think are pretty respected who will tell another side of a story that the other side doesn't tell. And it's not just the coronavirus, it's everything. And this is where the establishment media comes in. And this cancel culture BS that we live in. We've turned the virus, we've taken a pandemic, we've made it both political and now woke. We have a woke virus. Woke virus culture is what we're living in. So who am I supposed to believe? Well, you should listen to people who tell the truth and have a history of that. Okay, well, this guy's been in the, he's an epidemiologist. He's done it for 30 years. He's got 50, peer-reviewed published papers. But he's contradicting you, who's been around forever. I'm not going to read all of his papers. I'm not going to read all your papers. So who am I supposed to believe? Tough, isn't it? The media is going to want you to believe whatever is in their best interest. My best interest is you do what's best for you. I want to tell you how to live your life. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you're a raging liberal or a staunch conservative. I don't care about any of those things. What do you mean don't care? No, I just care about, are you a good person? Everything else is... You pass the rest of it, if you will, the differences, if people are willing to. And your beliefs are your beliefs. My whole thing is, I want to make sure that we come at you with, here's our opinion based on the stuff that we've seen, the doctors that we've talked to. School. The only real thing that we can look at as far as schools opening up is what they've done in Europe. According to a French study, according to a study by several leading publications and colleges, according to a Swedish study, very little transmission from children to adult, and the chances of the children getting sick under the age of 15 and dying from it is virtually nil. So... what's the study I'm looking at on the other side? And they'll show you something. Well, who am I supposed to believe at that point in time? But the narrative is you can't go to school. You just can't do that. Schools are right now, no way. Nuh-uh. Not unless we get more funding and defund the police. What what'd that have to do with the virus? You didn't hear? LAUSD? It's one of their things in in there as they voted on whether or not to go to school and teach in person. They won't feel comfortable until there's a vaccine. What if there's no vaccine? Well, I guess you're going to be having your tax dollars go to whatever it is that they're going to be doing online. Enjoy that. Frustration, absolutely. But it's what the media wants you to think is that every child's a super spreader, and the data doesn't back that up. But it's the media. And I just want to cut through all the BS and let's look at stuff that's real. And it's tough because you're not getting people out that aren't activists inside newsrooms. Case in point, yesterday, Bari Weiss resigned her position as a staff editor and an opinion writer for the New York Times, okay? So she's a staff editor. She's an opinion writer. She is what you would truly call a centrist, maybe leans a little bit left. Not a staunch conservative, not uber progressive. She cited a hostile work environment, blaming the publisher for allowing it. Writing her resignation letter that self-censorship has become the norm. She goes, I joined the paper with gratitude and optimism 3 years ago. I was hired with the goal of bringing in voices that would otherwise not appear in your pages. Translation, people who are centrist, first-time writers, conservatives, that's what she says, and others who would not naturally think of the Times as their home. The reason for this effort was clear. The paper's failure to anticipate the outcome of the 2016 election meant that it did not have a firm grasp of the country it covers. Dean Baquet and others have admitted as much on various occasions. The priority in the opinion was to help redress the critical shortcomings, she wrote. But what'd they do? She allowed, I think it was Tom Cotton, to post an op-ed, and that's where it just got absolutely, like, she cannot. They bullied her. They said you destroyed her. People went to the chief editor and said, you got it. This is violence. This is there's safety here. You're not taking safety measures. Weiss also went on to say, the paper failed to learn lessons about the importance of understanding other Americans, necessities of resisting tribalism, and the centrality of the free exchange of ideas and democracy in our society. Twitter is not on the masthead of the New York Times, but Twitter has become its ultimate editor, she wrote, which is so true. She goes, on the company's Slack channel, she was bullied, she was demeaned. Several of her colleagues smeared her on social media without any repercussions, because people would rather her shut up. And that's a sad thing. And that's part of the media. What's the narrative? She said in there, the thing that is most important out of all of that was the censoring had become the norm. Meaning there are people out there that are covering something, and halfway through it, they realize not all that they want it to be is true. So what do? You censor yourself so you can put out the ideas. It's not covering stuff with truth. That's covering stuff as an activist and a narrative. When people talk about documentaries, I look at documentaries as, are you telling the whole story, or are you an activist that's shooting a motion picture, and this is only going to be based on the things that you want it to be about? Michael Moore's the king of that. He's a great filmmaker. But along the way, he became an activist that happens to make motion pictures. What's the narrative when it comes to coronavirus? It's woke right now because of all the demands that a lot of teachers union want. We've turned it into, if you don't wear a mask, you must be a Trump supporter and a racist. And if you do wear a mask, you must be a liberal, progressive sheeple. Neither of those things are true. We've turned this into this crazy woke world of politics over pandemic, or better yet, politics with pandemic and a side of wokeness. Can you smell what's cooking? It's a bunch of crap. And along the way, you're getting fed things that are not necessarily lies. Some stuff's misinformation, data that's not all put together. Some of it's disinformation with I'm going to do all I can to persuade you to think this way. And by doing that, I'm only going to give you one side of a story, and that's the side of the story that you want. And so you go out thinking you're armed with the truth, and you argue and you fight and you do all this crap, or you do something based on that, only to find out that, well, there's some truth in there. It's just not all the truth. And then you take it personal and you fight. People don't trust the media because it's not what it seems. I work in the media. I'm not a journalist. I'm a ding-dong funny talk show host. We can debate the funny. Who does a lot of reading, is very driven, wants to hear all sides of something, and I'm not choosing a side based on an R or D or red or blue. And I want to then serve it up to you, hopefully in an entertaining manner, but I want you to make up your own mind on something. And I'll get it wrong, too. Been wrong before, I'll be wrong in the future. But it's just amazing in this day and age that people come across as this crazy cancel culture. I lead the way. Listen to everything I have to say. This is the only truth you need. And we're the New York Times, so just take it like that. And we'll decide what matters and what doesn't matter. And if it doesn't fit our narrative, rather than giving you everything, we'll give you this and this alone. And this is what it is. So you have somebody, Bari Weiss, who's brought in because the New York Times has lost complete touch with the country that it's covering, and she is evil and bad. And somehow that righteousness of being able to cancel somebody, to be able to censor somebody, is great. Because they have the moral standings rather than hearing from both sides. And that's the scary thing. I tell people, they're coming. Cancel culture is real. You can't ignore it. And it's not canceling even individuals. It's canceling free speech. It's canceling free thought. It's canceling things that shouldn't be canceled, that should absolutely be protected. And most importantly, it's canceling this individualism for this lunacy of tribalism based on my way or the highway. I love to hear what liberals have to say. I love to hear what conservatives have to say. And I wouldn't want it any other way. I don't want to live in a world where it's only red or only blue. But I tell you what, we better figure something out quicker than we're doing it now. We have a pandemic in the health world, and we have a pandemic in the critical thinking freedom world. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. I don't know if I'd eat this. I don't know. I just got a email from producer Anthony. So you guys don't know, Anthony's in Sacramento. I'm in Phoenix, and producer Phil's in our nation's capital. It shall not be named because it's evil. And Anthony sends me this thing. Chef creates the world's healthiest cookie with 5 daily servings of fruits and vegetables. His name is Gurparitz Baines. Gurparitz? That's his name. I don't make it up. Probably screwed it up. But he's followed by Gwyneth Paltrow, so she's got a candle that smells like her hoo-ha, so it's got to be awesome. But apparently it is, you got all these cookies. You get the dense blueberry-flavored cookies, the equivalent of 5 whole bags of fiber-rich leafy greens. The Chikatisa crumble is a vegan creation. 12 grams of fiber, 12 grams of protein, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. It's only 280 calories. Wow. Screw a V8, huh? I didn't know this. Only 1 in 10 Americans gets the daily recommended servings of fruits and vegetables. Wow. I didn't know it was that high. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. By the way, the Cookie Monster, he's like eating vegetables and fruit. Stop it. I don't need my puppets to be woke either. All right? I don't. I know it's become more and more that way. I don't need him eating anything but cookies. He's the cookie monster. It's the cookie monster. Good God. Speaking of eating, ate deliciously last night. Hello Fresh. What is Hello Fresh? Well, first of all, it's incredible. Comes right to your door. You get 22 chef-curated recipes each week, including low-calorie, vegetarian, family-friendly options. What I love about it is it comes in, so you get it in the box, bring it in. It's got all the food in it, and each bag is labeled. So we had the barbecue pork sandwiches, and it's got everything in there to make. It takes about 10 to 15, 20 minutes to make it all up. Boom, away it goes. It's awesome, and it's a money saver. The amount of money I'd spend eating out, doing all these things. How about this? 40% I'm saving versus shopping at the local grocery store. That is awesome. You can have gourmet feast, surf and turf, craft burger. You don't have to worry about planning anything. It's all done for you, and it's extremely affordable. Plus, you cut down on waste when it comes to food by about 25%. Get started with America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh, by going to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. What do you get? $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. That's promo code Benson at HelloFresh.com for $80 off, including free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
I'm excited. Alex Winter, who is Bill and Ted fame, he's also a director. He does a lot of stuff. He's got a new documentary coming out called Showbiz Kids, and it looks really interesting because I think a lot, I remember as a kid growing up, I had friends who were showbiz kids who went on to have major motion pictures, televisions. It was great. And we grew up together. I grew up in Hollywood, but I also, I had just, because of what I did and playing soccer, and you'd befriend some of these people, and it was, it was interesting to watch. And it's funny because I think, there was always that tale of, you look at the different strokes and what happened there and the curse. But I had a lot of friends who weren't in show business that were a giant mess as well. But this movie looks really interesting.
At 6 years old, I was taking dance classes.
I thought, I could do this. I could do this acting thing.
I was really a little girl that wanted to play with dolls.
We're doing the best that we can do on the set, but we also have to live in public.
Any industry that has that much power and is that competitive starts to become, well, who can take the most abuse?
It's something that parents need to see and understand that these people are right there.
We've all sacrificed so she could do what she loves.
It's a lot of pressure to have it all together and not be allowed to actually be young.
I stopped being a kid who was an actor and I became a child star.
Yeah, and it's got everybody you would think would be in it. It's got Evan Rachel Wood. People don't know she was a star as a kid. Cameron Boyce, who we know. Will Wheaton. Henry Thomas, who's very successful as an adult actor. Jada Pinkett Smith. Mila Jovovich. Mara Wilson. You remember Mara Wilson? Of course, Todd Bridges is going to be there. But Mara Wilson was one of those ones where you saw somebody, she was a star. She was in Matilda, Miracle on 34th Street. She was all these things. And I just think, she goes, look, I'm sexualized at a young age. And it's weird, but it looks really interesting. And it tells the dark side. There's upsides, too. Let's be real. It's not all bad. It's not, but it is very, like I say, I had friends that were both in the movie world, and I had a friend who was on a major television show for a long time, and we did soccer stuff together, we played together, and he was on Roseanne, and he's no longer with us. And then I have people I know that grew up in the industry, and they're totally fine, made a ton of money, very smart about it. So I think it's how you do it, but I also think it's not a lot of the people around you that you watch out for. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Be smart. Don't be a jerk. Smile a little bit, and just remember, no matter how bad it is, neither of us know or are married to Amber Heard or Johnny Depp. So that's a win. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.